Hi, Dr. Hines. This is my Practicum check-in number 1 that is due on September the 15th. So to start off, I really want to just talk about the summary of the activities that I have done over the past few weeks. So for the week of August the 19th, I really focused on one, creating this practicum proposal and the PL proposal as it reflects to gifted education, specifically dealing with multicultural and diverse students. I had to kind of draft a PL proposal to submit to the district, which was approved. But in total, that took about 3.5 hours. The week of August the 26th, I really looked at the different resources that I would have at my um, fingertips that I could use to research and kind of pull this together. So I discussed Galileo. I know the UGA library, but I really just kind of ran this through some different colleagues to really like broaden my horizons to determine locations that I could really like use to start my search of literature. I revised the practicum proposal for accuracy based on your feedback, and I began to really filter through various keyword searches on databases for all of the literature that I needed to use. I will say that in and of itself took a big chunk of time. I felt like what I was using, maybe like the initial keywords that I was using for my searches, weren't necessarily giving me results and giving me like the specific literature that I needed to base my practicum instrument creation on. The week of September the 2nd, I really began to deep dive into the research. So once I was able to kind of narrow down those keyword searches, um, I was able to kind of dive into the literature that I was finding in order to find those credible sources. So I really looked at multicultural gifted education, preconceptions that educators may have in regards to that. And also, I researched like what makes a good PL because I figured if I had the background knowledge of what makes a good PL, then I could use that to help me kind of form this instrument that I would use to navigate and see where these teachers were at. I also began to analyze the resources that I located. And then September the 9th, I really just continued through my analysis of literature. I began to formulate some possible questions that I could use on this introductory instrument. And the PL itself is about multicultural gifted education and strategies that people or educators can use. And so, this practicum for the development, I am creating that instrument. So, all in all, I've spent roughly 22.5 hours on this. My next goals are to continue to refine my analysis, really zone in on what's important and what's not, and begin to make my instrument so that in the next few weeks I can have that finished. And then in turn, um, send that out to some of my colleagues so that I can get some feedback on it. The next few slides are just some research of interest that I've gathered throughout my literature review. So I'll just kind of push through these. I just wanted to have them on here so that you could see some of the work that I have been doing. And as you can see, some of it relates to multicultural gifted education in and of itself, and then some of it relates to training teachers and professional development. These are some possible questions that I have thought to include based on some of the research that I've found. But how accessible do you believe gifted education programs are for students from diverse cultural backgrounds? Are there barriers that prevent students from multicultural backgrounds from participating in gifted programs? How effective are our programs? How well does the curriculum and instruction methods used represent diverse perspectives? How adequately are teachers trained? And how do you think that multicultural students perceive their experiences? I'm kind of toying with the idea now of how I want this instrument to look. So, do I want it to be short answer and do I want it to kind of be almost like a discussion? Or do I want to kind of have, on a scale of 1 to 4, with 1 being the least and 4 being the greatest, like where would you rank yourself at or where would you rank our school at? But that's kind of where I'm at right now. In terms of areas of strength, I feel like I'm good with the purpose. Like I know what I want to accomplish and I know what I need to accomplish by the end of the semester. I also feel like I'm good with the resources. I know I have an ample amount of not only colleagues that I can talk to, but also sources that I can utilize. And I really do feel like I've been using my time wisely throughout this practicum and in connection and collaboration with the applied project. Some areas of weakness. So, timeline, like how much time is too much time? I almost feel like I've spent too much time analyzing the literature. One, finding the literature took a good piece of time, but two, reading through the abstracts, figuring out what was important, what wasn't, and then in turn reading through entire studies. It's just taking so much time. So, am I spending too much time on this, even though I'm kind of winding down? My next area of weakness is analyzing. So I had a little bit of struggle on how to best go about filtering the research. Like I said, though, that's kind of winding down. I just kind of took that as it came. And then, really, what I'm at now is determining what format I'm going to use for this instrument development. So, like I just talked about, is it going to be more of a short answer with discussion, or will it be kind of like a 1 through 4 rating scale? Um, Maybe like multiple choice. Maybe I'll have a drop down. I'm not entirely sure. I'm still kind of toying with that. And then finally, questions about the practicum in particular. So, since my practicum and my applied project are going hand in hand, can the hours that I spend working on my applied project, so that professional learning as a whole, count towards the practicum? Or is it just that the practicum can only include the hours I spend towards my instrument development? Um, but I hope that this was telling about all that I have done. Um, and thank you so much.